tariff threats from Donald Trump spark another sell-off in the U.S. markets. The U.S. president says he will stop imports of cooking oil from China as retribution for China's ban on American soybean. Wall Street turns negative on prospects of a renewed trade war between the two biggest economies. A clearly rattled Trump administration now says India an ally as it battles China's curbs on rare earths. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent accuses Beijing of pointing a bazooka at the free world supply chains and industrial base. Says he expects to get substantial support from allies like India. Tariffs set to take their toll on the world economy. IMF forecasts 2 years of continued slowdown. India, however, retains the crown of the fastest growing economy, with the 2025 growth forecast raised by 20 basis points to 6.6%. IMF says tariff squeeze will be felt next year, lowers forecast to 6.2%. Red faces among Tamil Nadu's Stalin government as Foxconn denies any fresh investment in the state. This comes a day after the state industries minister, TRB Raja, announced the iPhone maker will invest 15,000 crore rupees in the state and create 14,000 high-value jobs. DMK government blames jealousy-driven skepticism by the opposition. 51 days after suspending postal services to the U.S. due to revocation of the de minimis rules, India Post will restart all categories of postal services to the U.S. from today. A new delivery duty paid system for shipments to the U.S. will help you send parcels, documents and gifts in a transparent way to your friends and relatives. All right, the global setup on your screen, as you can see, taking a little bit of a hit on the back of renewed tariff wars. We're also joined this morning by my colleague Shailendra Bhatnagar, Chief Analyst and Editor Markets, as well as Sharad Awasthi, Head of Research, PCG Smiths. Thanks for joining us, both of you. Asia at least has maintained its gains and remains intact. Let's take a look at what the Nifty is in store for this morning. And we're coming off of the back of renewed vigor when it comes to earnings season, as well as strong IMF commentary, at least when it comes to India. Nifty looks like it's set for a green tick on opening. Shell, good morning. Let me come to you on what the setup is looking like.
Well, very good morning to you, Aabha, and a warm welcome to all our viewers. Yes, a mild gap up, 36 points on the Nifty. We are hopeful of resuming the upward trajectory that we saw, and therefore 25,250, 25,300 should be on the cards this week. More importantly, we see the most recent base, which is 25,000, 25, 26, 37, all being tested. So a bounce back from these levels, very strong traction in PSU banks, as also wider PSUs. So that is something that needs to be tracked, as also Aabha, gold and silver. In fact, gold is something which should follow the trajectory of silver because of the short squeeze in the physical market, and all that we learned from Shakespeare in our school, all that glitters is gold. Often have you heard that told.
Yes, and bringing the poet out in you, Shell. So let's go across to Sharad as well. Sharad, trade set up this morning. Let me get your view in on it. We've got a lot of action on IT names on the back of earnings. Tech Mahindra numbers coming in. What are you making of those? Persistent also seeing an increase in profit. How are you viewing some of the IT numbers that have come in so far?
Yeah, I think most of the numbers are typically showing one common theme. The deal win size continues to grow. The new larger deal wins are continuing to grow. Though this quarter we do not have too much optimism in the numbers, they are more or less, stable at the top line and bottom line level. Particularly Tech Mahindra's numbers, I think the one thing that we are waiting for is the BFSI ramp up. So some of the business details do show some ramp up there. So most probably as that trajectory continues, I think we'll have more details about it. So I think, yeah, mostly the numbers look okayish kind of, but I think next quarter onwards, we'll have much better numbers from the IT pack. The business around US most probably has not shown much improvement in this quarter also. Next quarter onwards, that should start to show up. And valuation wise, I think these are comfortable levels to look at IT stocks.
So within the pack, any particular favorites, Sharad? Because we had very different numbers and strategy from TCS versus HCL. HCL on its AI play, TCS on the data center play. Today we've got Tech Mahindra also out with earnings. Where would you be looking within the basket?
Within the front lines, I think I'm more confident with Infosys. These
Okay.
valuations, I'm very happy with. I would be very happy buying into it. I think over the next 6 to 7 months, as the mood improves, the forward numbers will substantially improve. And in the smaller names, I think in the high growth smaller names, I think Scient is something where we are expecting not Scient DLN, Scient Limited. I think most of the reorganization will play out over the next 6 to 9 months. So that could be one spot, where you could have a lot of improvement in the days to come.
All right, that's the view on IT. Sharad, as Shail also pointed out, we have been seeing some amount of traction building up in PSUs and particularly PSU banks. Do you feel this is driven by some kind of reform buzz? Is it again a valuation play? Anything that you're spotting there?
Yeah, I think partly reform also, and partly I think the buzz started with the SBI chairman being very clear about the kind of growth and type of positioning we want to put it for a behemoth like SBI to put out targets that we want to establish a stronger brand bank growth over the next 5 6 years, be among the top 10, top 5. So I think this sets the very positive tone. And largely, I think the MSME microfinance issue that we were facing over the last few quarters, I think that is getting relaxed. The NBFC relaxation should start to show up in the numbers as well. And valuations across PSU banks are very attractive. I think barring SBI, if you look at the top three, they would be trading at 1.1 times price to book. And the way we are expecting advances growth, etc., and the NPS to play out, there is high probability they could be trading at 1.4, 1.5. So that alone, even without not much improvement, I think there is a possibility that you might be looking at 20-30% upside across it.
All right, calming down to opening now, let me also take you through some of the other stocks in news. Satvik Green, that one's got about a 600 crore rupee order coming in. Godrej Properties acquiring a 26-acre land in Bengaluru with about 1,000 crore rupee revenue potential. So that's Godrej Properties in the news as well. Lemon Tree signed a pact for a new hotel in Gujarat. Remember, tourism, hospitality continue to be an area of growth. CCI approving acquisition of JP Associate by Vedanta. So that's something that's been in the offing, that approval coming in from CCI as well, the Competition Commission of India. Watch out for JP today on opening. We're just counting down now to the opening bell. We've got electronics. All right, also some breaking news coming in for you. A massive jump in the rupee value, strengthening against the dollar. Rupee now up 79 paise at opening, strengthening to 88.01 versus 88.8 on Tuesday. That's a massive jump coming in on the currency this morning, strengthening there against the dollar. Clearly several factors at play over there, and we'll of course get you some deeper analysis on that as well. But a quick look at the opening ticks, and we're seeing a massive jump on the rupee this morning. Shail, this is big news on the currency, clearly seeing an impact of some of those global factors.
Let's hope for the best. But broadly, I think a weaker rupee is good for us, but the markets are right there in front of you, 40 points higher. Anything that you would like to mark?
Let's take a look at the gainers and losers. Have we opened in the green this morning, up about 0.2% as expected on the Nifty 25-200. That's where we're at. We've also got the Nifty Bank steady, up about 0.2% right now. We also got Tata Motors, Adani Enterprises, Bajaj Finance, some of the gainers today. Tata Motors looking good, up close to about 2% right now. Hindalco, Wipro, Bharti Airtel also seeing some steady gains coming in there. Auto, of course, continues to be a pocket of focus. On the losers end, we've got IT. So Infi, we're still awaiting earnings on that one. Dr. Reddy's from the pharma pack. Cipla. Then we have Titan, for instance, Tata Steel, some amount of profit booking on some of the metal majors, perhaps. And SBI Life also on the downside, Axis Bank and a smattering of the financials, but the cuts are very limited. Extremely flat market on opening. Shell?
Yes, Aabha, but look at the way how Bank Nifty is moving today, 163 points higher. Major banks doing well, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank in the green. Remember, these are two of the highest weighted stocks, both in the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and it's a sea of green across the board as far as the Lal Street is concerned. 1444 shares in the green, 716 the red, 19 indices are being traded out of 19, 18 are in the green, and of course, as I had pointed out, the rally is led by PSU banks, 0.6% higher on the Nifty. And I'd also like to point out generic pharma companies will do very well in trade today. As far as advanced decline ratio is concerned, that's very positive. And the record high is on MCX. No prices progressing. It's silver and gold and copper that trading is getting reflected. In fact, all silver ETFs back in the top gainers list, Aabha.
Another mover today, let's pull up Thyrocare for you. This one is jumping in trade and its earnings impact coming in for you. Remember, Thyrocare net profit had jumped 80% to 48 crore. The firms also announced a 2:1 bonus, so 8.5% higher in trade today immediately. And you know, we've had healthcare as a segment also looking fairly attractive. Let me just take a look at the numbers. Net profit surged 80%. Revenue from operations rose 22% to 216 crore at this point of time. Sharad, I'm going to come to you on this one. I don't know if you track it, but look at the reaction on the stock. And, for one of the companies in the broader markets, clearly the markets are excited to see this kind of performance.
Yeah, I think the business model is also very suitable for a country like India. They are trying to, mix it within the value-added basket and try to provide it at a decent price. But I think that these valuations, what are you looking at? I mean, next year, maybe, somewhere around 25, 30 bucks, already trading at 40, 41 times. So I would not call it expensive vis-a-vis the rest of the pack. But I think, yeah, these are fair valuations. I personally am betting more on something like a Krishna Diagnostic. I think that is more on the value side of the diagnostic business, which I think is more of a requirement of the country. And there, I think the valuations are also much more comfortable vis-a-vis, something like a Thyrocare. It's trading at 24 times 1 year forward. So my preferable choice within the healthcare pack or diagnostic pack would be Krishna Diagnostic.
Okay, great. Good to see that segment, building up. Let's also take a look at some other news coming in we'll come to Hyundai in just a moment. There's a lot of action this morning. We've got banks really shooting up. I want to get first, Shell, let's just take a look at which ones, where the action is, and then let's get Sharad in specifically on some of those stocks.
Absolutely, Aabha. Look at Maharashtra Bank post earnings 3% higher, 56.87. In fact, the entire PSU bank space is lit with grains. If you look at it this way, Can Bank 1% higher, Bank of Maharashtra 0.7% higher, and the volumes are very, very strong. In fact, all volume buzzers at the moment in the first 10 minutes of trade are only and only PSU banks. Maybe you can ask Sharad on Maharashtra Bank. The earnings were very good, and this is a very, very high beta, low ticket item.
Sharad, specifically on Maharashtra post earnings?
1.4 times price to book, TTM. And I think as we spoke earlier, there is a high probability, that next quarter onwards, even advances growth should look much better. This quarter numbers have been good. The gross NPAs have been around 1.72%. So we don't have a lot of problem there. And once the MSME microfinance and the NBFC piece starts showing up, most probably capex would also contribute over the next 3 to 6 months, even consumption. So I think this could be a good story to have 1.4, 1.5, maybe not as inexpensive as some of the larger PSU banks like PNB, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank. But yeah, still I think this is not very expensive, and this is a smaller bank, so they could ramp up pretty fast.
Okay, let's take a look at Persistent, because that stock is also moving on earnings. We've got the numbers for you. Let me just run through them. 6% up. Markets happy with those earnings. Profit up 10.9% at 471 crores versus 424. Persistent revenue up 7.5% at 3,580 crores versus 3,333 crore. So that's why we're seeing that jump coming in on Persistent. It's looking really good today in terms of how the market is rewarding it for its performance. Talking about earnings, let's also pull up ICICI Lombard for a quick minute and just see if that one's reacting as well. On our screens, we're seeing earnings impact coming in across Thyrocare, across Persistent, across Bank of Maharashtra. So some of these names are definitely standing out. And there you have it. ICICI Lombard also up about 5%. Shell, this is what we've been waiting for, really. We've had a whole host of market experts tell us that they're looking at earnings recovery, and clearly the markets are rewarding what they're seeing.
Yes. Absolutely, Aabha, but you first heard it on India Today TV, because about a week ago we had marked Nippon India ITBs as the safest thing to buy, and that's turning out to be a great investment at current levels. IT will gain because many mutual funds have bought into these beaten down valuations. For the next 3 months or so, it is going to be a party for IT stocks. Okay. Again, consult an independent financial advisor if you get into ITBs.
Great. Keep an eye on IT. That's the one making all the news this morning on the back of earnings as well as banks. Let me also move on to auto. Hyundai has unveiled big plans for its India operations. In its investor presentation to stock exchanges this morning, the auto major announced it plans 4 new car launches this fiscal. It's also said it'll launch at least 22 new cars in the next 4 years, including 8 hybrids. So that's the latest coming in on Hyundai. Big news coming in from the counter. Not much movement today on the stock exchange, but we have been seeing auto run up overall, and Hyundai being one of those top movers as well. What are you making of this announcement, Sharad, the big plans by Hyundai to really take a larger chunk of the market?
Yeah, I think very positive development. Even if you look at Maruti, they are also trying to focus on the hybrid part of the business. And even after Hyundai listed, I was of this view that new launches could substantially spice up what we are expecting right now. So you look at the forward earnings, I think over the last 6-7 months, we have had substantial upgrade to the earnings, 5-7%. If some of these new launches turn out to be blockbusters, I think they have had some legacy models which are doing still very well. And Hyundai has an established brand here. So though competition is getting higher, but I think, this could be an interesting watch. At these valuations, it's better to, wait and watch and have a look. In case some of the models do very well, then you would probably restart building positions here. Preferably maybe, around an 8 to 10% drop, but that would give you a much better option to get into it. So around 2200, 2300, you can start looking at it again. So I think that would be a decent strategy, because next year, what are we expecting? 90 rupees, 90, 95 rupees kind of earnings. It's already trading at 32, 33 times 1 year forward. So not much is left on the table, I think. But in case something turns out to be a blockbuster amongst the new launches, there could be substantial re-rating. So it's better to wait and watch and buy your dips probably.
Okay. Sharad, I got to ask you about the LG listing and the pricing of it as well. What are you making of it? We've got to get your view on the mega listing.
Yeah, an excellent listing. I think for a change, one of the larger issue was not priced to perfection, leaving a lot on the table. But at the same time, I think at these valuations, it would be hard for you, to get money out of it over the next 1.5, 2 years maybe. So if you're a long-term investor, I think certainly you can continue to hold on, because the segments they are present into, air conditioning, maybe they haven't done so well, but the other 2-3 consumer durable parts, they have been doing very well, and I'm very bullish on the long-term prospects of it. So LG should benefit out of that. But at these valuations, 1.5, 2 years, I think it would be difficult to make more money, because next year, what are you expecting? Similar kind of earnings, not much growth. So 1.5 year might be difficult, but if you stretch your horizon to 2 to 3 years, maybe you'd still make money. So in case you have it, you can continue to hold. You're a long-term investor. But if you are expecting to make money, over the next 1.5, 2 years, I think it's better to get out of LG at these valuations, that you will not make much money over the next 1.5, 2 years.
All right, good call coming in there from Sharad. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us on the show today and taking us through your views, and a very active market opening today on the back of earnings. In a Business Today TV Diwali special edition, we also spoke with Devina Mehra and Nilesh Shah on their top bets this Samvat 2082. Listen in. Devina, for you, which are the sectors that are looking attractive? IT, financials, defense, consumption. Where are you looking within the markets?
So we don't have very concentrated portfolio. So I mean, there will not be a time when in our PMS we have like 30% or 40% in a single sector. We have been overweight pharma, healthcare, and auto ancillaries from about the beginning of 2024. So that still continues. We've added a few auto names along the way. One sector which has been coming up on our systems and where we've been increasing has been FMCG this year. So we are overweight there as well. Some have been stock picks in chemicals and all that, but that you can't recommend as a sector. Banking, we are normally hugely underweight. We are less underweight now. So we've added to banking because banking, if you look at last 5 years, so 20, 21, 23, 24, all of them, Bank Nifty hugely underperformed the Nifty. The only year where it outperformed was 2022. So it's kind of like making a comeback. So I'm always a very nervous investor in banks. And we are not overweight, but we have added there. So that would be broadly where we have weightage. I mean, the others would be either market weight kind of thing or lower.
Any particular stocks from within the basket, Nilesh, if I had to pin you down on it?
I think we have a portfolio approach, Aabha. So we essentially own most of the names around there, be it Eternal, be it Paytm, be it Exigo. I think these are, be it Blackbug, these are the kind of names we already own in our PMS and for our clients. So yeah, we have a vested interest. These are not recommendations, but I think we like all of these people, these companies. They have been able to essentially establish market leadership, and they have created strong entry barriers for others. Some have been able to create entry barriers. Some obviously it's still there's enough competition out there, and they're doing relatively well even in a competitive environment. So I think we like this space.
A power-packed Diwali special lineup today on Business Today TV's Market Masters at 10 a.m. Catch Sunil Singhania, founder Abacus Asset Management, and at 2 p.m. Ajay Srivastava. Do tune in for all the action. That's all from us for now. Thanks for watching.
Motorola Edge 60 Pro, the true flagship killer.
Living my best.